Everyone, Coach Powers here again, and I want to say a few words about my new Benzo Recovery School now that we've been open about, I think, 8 months. Can't believe it's been 8 months. Time flies. Um, it's been the absolute best experience of my life, let me tell you, as someone who, works in clinical psychology, works in the benzo field. Um, Helping people recover, rebuild themselves, not just taper and recover from benzos, but address that pre-existing condition, address the rumination and the panic and the agoraphobia and the somnia and the health anxiety and all of the manifestations coming off of benzo. It has been, from the perspective of a benzo coach and essentially a clinical psychologist, it has been the best thing I've ever done. And here's why. I mean, for one, it's allowed me to offer people a actual structured program for recovery. Um, so much of what I did for the last decade as a benzo coach is, you reach out to me. We do an hour conversation on the phone, which is more or less an intake. I collect information, I hear your backstory. Might take half an hour or 45 minutes just to get through your story, and then I try to provide a rationale, an impression. I take notes and give you a clinical impression of what you're going through, not just from the benzo. See, I'm looking back on, you know, I want to know the whole picture. I want to see the whole picture. I want to know the whole story. Did you have anxiety as a child? Were your parents anxious? Did you take an antidepressant once in college after a bad breakup? Were you on and off meds throughout your life? Did you deal with health anxieties? Did you have major traumas? All of these things help inform me on the big picture stuff. And that so matters, guys, to not just coming off of benzos, which I think is almost the easier task, but staying off of benzos, right? So people come to me that first hour, I hear their story, I give them my impression of what's going on, and then what little time I have left, I try to give them some sense of direction or maybe something that might help them right now. Say they're battling insomnia, I might talk a little bit about that. And it's just never enough time. And I always would hang up the phone going, God, I had so much more to give that person. And I hope they reach back out to me because I really think I know I can help them. So I hope to hear from them again. And usually I do. And then, the next calls are me trying to figure out people's baselines, running assessments, getting a more of a picture, and then starting a lot of psychoeducation. I mean, there's such a huge level, if you're working with me, there's such a huge level of psychoeducation that needs to happen first. And part of that is sort of I ask everyone to throw out what you think you know about benzos first. Don't come in here with that and kind of holding on to that model. Let that go for a little bit. Let me show you a new model, a new way of looking and thinking about things. And that could take multiple sessions of just me coaching and teaching. I say it's almost like taking a psychology course via the phone, right? And that's tough. It's a lot of information. People are trying to take notes. I started creating templates and all these other things that I gave people to make it, easier for them to remember what I was talking about, to go have something to go back on. But even then, it was just so limiting. And so I had been creating this program, I mean, since my time on Benzo. So I had the program and I was writing books and I was, always writing like a scientist on different stages of recovery, phases of recovery, steps to recovery. But I just didn't have a platform to put it all together. How do I do that? Okay, I'll make a recovery course and then I'll just sell it or, release it here or there. No, that's not quite it either. I started a live, excuse me, a free benzo support group on Facebook called Life After Benzos. If anyone wants to check that out, it's a very positive, good group. And what I found in that group is I wanted to keep it positive, but then half the group didn't want that. They wanted to talk about symptoms. They wanted to ask questions and have more of a cathartic kind of experience and environment. And the other half of the group was like, I don't want to hear any of that. That's why I'm here. I just want support and positivity. So that was hard. I did that for a couple years and was just, and I said, God, if there was only a way I had my own platform where I could create a special room for people that want to ask questions and explore those topics, and then have another space that's designated for just positive thinking, positive, just can as us coming together as people come, going through this, just being amongst each other is enough. Like we don't have to, like old soldiers, we don't have to sit here and rehash and relive our old war stories, right? We don't want to do that, but we do want to be around our people. So I found the right app, the right platform called Mighty Networks. So that's what I use, and created my recovery course, which is now 24 video multi-module course. Started doing live Zoom 3-hour meetings every Sunday, recorded those. Those turned into full-blown lessons where I would lecture and teach for maybe an hour or two on everything from, like I said, health anxiety or stages of recovery or managing rumination or tapering. And then I uploaded those to the school. And at this point, I think we have like over 100 hours of just that content. And, over the years, I had been creating templates and ebooks and like just all kinds of stuff. So the school just became this wonderful base for all of it. I could build my community. I could build my support group. I could offer, direct one-on-one coaching or group coaching or mindfulness training or live Zoom meetings weekly and check-in sessions and, you know, uh, and like I said, the video courses and all of it. It's been a wonderful ride. And as a benzo coach, it took my work from here through the roof. I mean, I saw so much more improvement in the people that I had been working with and all the new clients. Like it just expedited recovery. I mean, it was blowing my mind. And I kept waiting for it to like, someone pinch me. Is this a dream? Because people would come in and be in just utter distress, totally lost, just losing their damn minds. And within weeks, they're reporting, drastic drops in their anxiety. They're sleeping better. They're calmer. They're finally having hope again. They're having a direction forward, and they've got the positive community and they love it. They love it. They say this is enough to have someone I can just talk to and that understands this. I don't need a rumination buddy that only makes me sicker. Right? Like they get the assignment. And this is where my school is quite different than the other groups, which are kind of like I look at them as rumination bars. Everyone, pouring each other shots of rumination. Hey, have you heard of histamines? Hey, have you heard of, and it's not that we don't address those topics. We just do everything in such a I think a much more healthier way, So at this point, I've had people that come into the school 6 years, 10 years, multiple years off, stuck in bind, stuck in just lost and just utterly hopeless. And I've watched these people fight their way back in matter of months. And they're taking their kids to soccer games and going to concerts and shopping again and traveling and going to family functions and they just can't believe it. I mean, it's been so much inspiration and positivity that it's just been overwhelming. It really has warmed my heart so many times, um, almost daily, weekly. I'm almost moved to tears sometimes listening to these people's stories and watching and knowing what they're overcoming and watching them not just, and I'm talking about during their tapers, even people that are coming in and you think, oh, you can't thrive and you can't, this has got to be hell all the way through. No, it doesn't. These people come in and they learn the psychoeducation components. They restore the hope. They start, throwing out that old foundation, rebuilding or building a new foundation, new healthier foundation, and then we get to work. We're working on neuroplasticity. We're working on neural rewiring. We're building CBT skills, DBT skills, learning mindfulness, overcoming trauma, processing, building our work ethic, becoming better versions of ourselves, essentially. Right. And that's the secret treasure or the silver lining in surviving all this and coming off of benzos is that you don't just have to survive it. You don't have to just come out of this being some kind of mangled version of your former self. You can thrive and you can overcome and you can get better and you can become something even bigger and more beautiful and more impressive than what you were before. That someday people will see you and say, "Oh my God, you've changed. What's your secret?" You know, Now, am I saying the school is the answer to everything? No, absolutely not. Is there still room for other therapy or coaches or professionals? Sure, absolutely. And but it's a really really strong base. I think it's a really strong base. We have $30 a month memberships. It's like almost nothing for what you get. It's literally almost nothing. So I wanted to make it affordable for everybody. This wasn't like a get rich scheme. It wasn't about money. It was about creating a base for me to work from that was affordable and positive and really was an echo chamber of what I felt like I needed during benzo withdrawal and what I felt like I wanted during benzo withdrawal. I mean, that was the entire model of my school was me sitting back going, you know what I wanted when I was going through this? Oh my God, if I could check in daily, if I could check in with a clinical psychologist who went through this, has a program for recovery, and then work with him weekly, oh my God, yes, please sign me up for that, right? The community, we have spaces in the school called Furry Friends where, people can post pictures of their pets and we have a faith-based space of the school and we have a space for poetry and art and photography and all these things and what it does is it just creates a sense of family. Like we get to know each other on a much deeper level than just the name on the screen shouting and crying and what you normally see in some of these other groups and forums. There's a sense of community and it's like it's just beautiful. So anyway, I want to let you guys be aware of that. I'm not good at selling and marketing things, and you probably haven't. I mean, hence I've put out so many videos, and I've done very little than other than maybe run a short commercial at the end of some of the videos. But I did want to come out and say more about it because I think it's the best kept secret. And in the school, it's kind of the joke is we have the best kept secret. And I will say one more thing, in case you are thinking about checking it out. So many people come into the school, and within like days, they'll write me and say, "Coach, I don't think I belong here." And I'll say, "Why not?" Well, everybody else, they seem to be doing a lot better than me. I go, "Oh," and at that point, I just smile because I know that's what all of these people said too, right? That's what that they came from the same place. They're not the outliers. They're not the benzo group that's doing great. These are real people battling real heavy stuff. I mean, we've got people in there that are overcoming things that's like a Rocky movie. I mean, it's just utterly that they deserve a film about their life, what they've overcome. And so to have a new person come in and see them doing that good, being that positive, like I said, going to concerts and doing the things. Not that everybody can do that. Don't get me wrong. Everybody has different levels of the battle that they're fighting, but they come in and they see that, and I think it's like, oh, maybe I don't belong here. These guys aren't suffering like me. And then of course we welcome into the fold within a month, sometimes weeks, they start to look like those people. And then a new person comes in, sees that person and says, oh, I don't think I belong here because that person, see all these other people, they're doing too good. And then those people, now they're in on the joke, right? So that's been kind of a funny, um, much welcome problem, if you want to call it that, a challenge, is people coming in and not thinking they belong there. Their story's different. And it's like, yes, 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 yes. Let's run you through the modules. Let's get this psychoeducation in your mind and let's just give it a few weeks and let's see what happens. And I bet you within a couple months, things are going to look very different. So that's my update on the school. I know sometimes other benzo coaches watch this, and if you're thinking about starting a school or something to that effect, I think it's the best thing you could do, uh, especially if you have a program, right, for recovery. Like I said, I'm not the guy that just says, lay and pray and white knuckle it and time will heal all. And no, no, that's true. Time does heal a lot. I mean, it will heal your receptors and all of that, but this is bigger than that. Benzos is like a seven-headed beast. You do have a pre-existing condition. Benzos makes that worse sometimes, often. You do have manifestations, the cost or the consequence of sitting in protracted acute withdrawal for so long. Benzos That's a result, direct results of benzo, trauma, agoraphobia, insomnia, all these things, and they don't just all just go away and vanish after benzos. Trauma response, all of this stuff. Like this is very important stuff. So if you I think it's utterly important to have a program to treat that. And the problem with a lot of the benzo communities, we don't see a lot of real high level mental health professionals. And the ones that we do seem to still be entertaining benzos on a level of what I would consider to be a very narrow-minded level. That it's just receptor damage, and here's a list of things you can't do, and here's a list of what you can do, which is usually a small list. Here's how you should be tapering, and then just a lot of fear of what could go wrong, and that's just not my model. That does never, you're fighting a fear stress-based disorder or disease, if you will, coming off a stress-based drug basically that's trying to mask that part of your brain. It doesn't make sense to just come off this and think things are just going to get better on their own. And sure as I say that, for most people, that is true. It will. That's why if you're a benzo coach and all you're doing is offering support and telling people give it time, you know what? You're still going to have a high win rate, right? Because they will for the most part. But are they gonna thrive? Are they going to address those pre-existing or manifested conditions? Are they going to stay off the benzo? Probably not, right? So I think you do need a program. Okay, well, as usual, I try to make this a short video. Turns out to be a long video of me rambling on this topic. But yeah, if you're interested in learning more about the school, you can go to benzorecoveryschool.com. Check it out. And yeah, hope to see you there, guys. Godspeed. Keep your heads up. You are healing and you will heal. That's a promise. I don't wanna let myself down.